Hello there guys and welcome back to my channel for yet another what we really learned from the past Chelsea game, which in this case was Tottenham 1, Chelsea 1, and in the end we lost 5-4 on penalties. So a very gutting result, honestly very gutting. But let's talk about it because there is so much to talk about. But yeah, welcome to my channel. I really do appreciate everyone that has tuned in already or will tune in along the way, / will watch this video later on when it goes out as a video. Of course, if you're new here, please be sure, again, the wrong button, I keep clicking the wrong one. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That'd be massively appreciated. We're slowly but surely nearing towards 7k subs. So if we could hit that anytime soon, that'd be absolutely brilliant. So if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please do that. And if you have, two things. First of all, drop a like. Secondly, hit the notification bell button. And thirdly, tell all your friends to subscribe just to help me out. That would be massively appreciated. But let's talk about the game. I mean, how bloody frustrating and disappointing was that? I was pretty happy with the first half. I mean, in hindsight, I've been kind of caught in two minds in all honesty, because I was like, okay, on the one hand, this was bloody brilliant, the first half. But on the other hand, I was like, well, we had all of the control, but we did pretty much nothing with it, having like 2 chances in the first half, while Spurs had arguably equally as many. It's difficult. And then we go into the second half, Spurs kind of just turn up and we just fold. We just completely fold. Lampard waiting way too long to make the necessary substitutions. In the end, half the substitutions being wrong substitutions. And it just doesn't work out. We concede the late equaliser with yet another individual mistake, and then we lose on penalties. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. And there's so many things to talk about, starting from what system should we actually be using? Why are we not sticking to one system? I just read the stat that in Lampard's 60 games in charge of Chelsea so far, he's used 56 different lineups, 56 different starting 11s. How crazy is that? Like, find a core to your team. I know it was difficult because we signed players in and we had quite a lot of injuries to important players, but you need to find the core. You need to find a centre-back partnership. You need to stick to one goalkeeper now. You need to have at least one secure DM or whatever midfielder you want to say, probably 2, and you need to start playing players in their position. Timo Werner needs to stop playing on the wing. Timo Werner needs to play up front. I know he had to yesterday because we still have injuries and stuff, but he needs to start playing up front all the time now. Because even though he got his first goal now, he's struggling so much more when he's on the wing. He was so good up front against Brighton and against... I don't remember the other game. Well, he was good against Liverpool as well, but that was a bit different. But he was especially great against Brighton up top. And then against West Brom on the wing. And against Liverpool kind of half on the wing. And then yesterday again on the wing. It just didn't really work. Let the guy play up front. Stop playing Mason Mount on the wing. Okay, yesterday he played as a number 10, which he should have been better at. But also, stop overplaying Mason Mount. The guy's played all 90 minutes in all 5 games so far. And then had to take the 5th penalty. I'm not saying don't let Mount take a penalty. He's a good penalty taker. Of course he should take one. And it was, annoying that Timo Werner had a cramp. Hence why he didn't step up himself. But it didn't have to be that order. I guess fair enough, maybe don't put it on Tammy to take the last one again, because we, what happened there in the Super Cup, and maybe don't put him through that again. But either have it be Aspi or Jorginho or someone like experienced to take the last penalty. It's important. Well, it wouldn't have been the last one had Mount scored, so I guess eventually we would have come to less experienced players anyway. But the 5th one has to be your best penalty taker, in my opinion. It's important. It's bloody important. And like I said, there's so many things to talk about. And let's start that off by talking about the lineup that we had yesterday, which is this, other than that Tomori and Zuma were the other way around. But Mendy had his first game in goal. And I thought it was very good. I was very happy with him. He just needs to stick in goal now. I do not accept anyone else but Edouard Mendy starting against Crystal Palace on Saturday. He needs to start. It needs to be him. There's no 2 questions about it. I'm not having it any other way. He has to. He has to. Thiago Silva needs to get game time now. In my opinion, he should be next to Kurt Zuma. Maybe it will be Christensen. Maybe it will be Tomori. I keep saying they're probably all on a level pegging. They all have mistakes in them. They're all brilliant. Tomori is the youngest. But personally, I would go for Zuma next to Thiago Silva. Reece James needs to be a right back consistently, but with swapping with Aspi is okay. Chilwell needs to start every game now and needs to play as many games as he can without, overplaying him, because he was a revelation. He was so much better than anything we've seen in a long time at left back yesterday. And then the midfield, we just need to sort it out. Lamps, find a system. Do you want to play 4-2-3-1? Do you want to play 4-3-3? Don't play 3-4-3, but if you want to do it, at least settle to that. But you need to stop chopping and changing information. And also, if we do play a 4-2-3-1 and the main starting double pivot will probably be Kovacic and Kante, tell Kante that he needs to sit. Because if we don't have anyone sitting in our double pivot, we are screwed every single time. Every single time we're screwed. Because Kovacic and Kante both like to bomb forward, and surprise, surprise, there's huge gaps left in behind them. That's why we're usually actually better when Jorginho plays in the double pivot, because he sits. Yes, you could say that's just because he's too slow, but at the end of the day, he has great anticipation, great interceptions, and just sits in that role. Hence why we usually get hit on the counter a lot less when Jorginho plays. It's a simple fact. So if you want to play Kovacic and Kante, tell Kante to stay. And if he's not going to do it, well, then he has to be dropped. It's as simple as that. Like, I love Kante. But if he's not going to do what he needs to do, then he can't be playing. Or Lampard isn't telling it to him, and then Lampard needs to sort himself out and tell him. Because this is outrageous. It's genuinely outrageous. And of course, guys, I will get to what you guys have put into the chat in just a little bit. Let me just talk through a couple of things. But of course, everyone that's new here, make sure you subscribe and drop a like. There's almost 40 of you watching, but only 8 likes. So come on, guys, change that. Go down below, smash that like button. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time. So please do that. Be massively appreciated. And then coming to the front four, I guess, that's when it's a little bit of a different story, where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to put that much blame on Lampard, other than overplaying Mason Mount, simply because we have so many players still out injured. If you look at the front four yesterday, other than Timo Werner and him out of position, none of those four are actually the four that will play in our best team. You know, let's just assume we play 4-2-3-1 more often than not. Kai Havertz will be the number 10. He didn't start yesterday. Hakim Ziyech, when fit, will be on the right. He didn't start yesterday. He still isn't fit. Christian Pulisic, who on his Twitch apparently said he is very ready to play, will play on the left wing, and Timo Werner will play up top. We didn't have that. So I can kind of give Lampard a little bit of leniency there. But the fact that we didn't make substitutions when it was necessary is disappointing. You know, Olivier Giroud had an absolute nightmare of a game. Olivier Giroud had a nightmare. He did nothing right, genuinely nothing. He couldn't control a ball, he couldn't get a single layoff right, and we know he's too slow. That's not putting blame on Giroud, but don't play him if you need outlays and you need over-the-top balls to take pressure off, you know, us in the second half. You should have brought Tammy Abraham on for him much, much sooner. Or brought, I don't know, Havertz and put Mount on the wing and put Werner up front. Just some outlets so we have a little bit of pace up front so we can actually kick the ball long and actually be through and goal. Because Jorginho played 5 or 6 incredible passes to Jorginho, not just to Hudson-Odoi, who should have done more with it, but also to Giroud. And if we had a different striker up there, there would have been way more that could have been done with it, because there was just a lack of pace. And also, Mason Mount was so tired. Mason Mount was so tired. I mean, the guy played 90 minutes 5 times in a row without pre-season. The guy couldn't even play the friendly in pre-season against Brighton because he had to self-isolate at that point. And he is the guy that you let play 90 minutes, you know, in all of the 5 games. And people are saying, oh, he's getting preferential treatment by Frank Lampard, it's his son or whatever. No. If anything, this is punishment to Mount to play so much. Not quite as much punishment as with Marcos Alonso, who was absolutely torn to pieces, of course. But it's still punishment in a way. And it can't be like that. You know, you can't play the same guy 90 minutes in 5 games in a row. You should have brought on Kai Havertz, and I understand Emerson had to came on for Chilwell, because Chilwell wasn't yet quite ready to play a full 90. So I understand that. So then you have to debate: do you bring Kante on or do you bring Kai on? Because Giroud had to come off. It should have been sooner, but he had to come off. Personally, I think bringing Havertz on for Mount would have been more helpful than bringing Kante on for Kovacic. I know we actually got better, but I think we also would have gotten better, and more better, arguably, if we just brought Kante, Havertz and Tammy on, because it just would have given us more of an outlet, and we could have actually attacked more ourselves. And in the end, we conceded anyway, even though the point of Kante coming on was to give us some more defensive stability. Also some pressing high up the pitch, but still at the end of the day, it was more for defensive stability. And also, we wouldn't have Mount on the pitch anymore to miss their penalty. Who knows, someone else could have done so. But, you know, I would argue that Kai Havertz is, well, no, I wouldn't actually. Mason Mount is a very good penalty taker. And that's the one thing. There's one thing you can actually criticise Mason Mount for. Yeah, everyone misses a penalty now and again. Lionel Messi has. Cristiano Ronaldo has. Neymar has. Hazard has. You know, Jorginho has. Everyone misses penalties. But what you can criticise him for is not making that pass to Timo Werner late on before Spurs even equalised. It could have been 2-0 over and done with. We could have sealed that game and it would have been done. But it didn't happen. And that's the one thing you can criticise Mason Mount for. Then again, it was, what, 80th something minute? Well, maybe if he was fresher and didn't have to play 90 minutes for 5 games in a row, maybe he would have made that pass. But he should have done better. Same as Callum Hudson-Odoi should have done better on that beautiful over-the-top ball by Jorginho when Eric Dyer went for a poo. Which is still funny. And ridiculous. The guy went for a poo, left the space open for us to score, we didn't use it, and he got man of the match. And then he put it on the toilet to take the piss. I mean, it's funny, but he still put it on the toilet to take the piss. It's an absolute nightmare. It's a nightmare. What did someone say? Baguma said, don't blame Giroud. The problem was Mount was all this time going to the right wing, not behind or close to Giroud to give him options. Well, that's irrelevant though. That's irrelevant because Giroud messed up his first touch anyway. So whether Mount was close to him or not, it didn't matter. It didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference. But let me just talk through a couple of more things, guys. Hudson-Odoi should have done better there. I don't know. Either square it to Tammy and let him have the pretty much tap in, or score yourself. I don't mind either way, but you need to take these chances, and that's the problem we sometimes have with the youngsters. We know they're incredibly talented, but in these huge moments, sometimes they let us down. Tammy, a lot of the time, stepped up last season. But other than that, the guy that mainly stepped up was usually Christian Pulisic and Mason Mount with his free kick against Wolves in the last game, when obviously they'd still top 4. But you know, Hudson-Odoi has on the big games really let us down. And Sarab said Emerson let us down. Yes, Emerson did let us down to some extent, but I think the Emerson one wasn't much like that. That mistake also happens. It's almost like the Mount missing the penalty. He misjudged the ball. It kind of went through it. It happened. It's a bad mistake and it shouldn't happen. It's an individual mistake that Lampard can't really do that much about. But it's still an individual error. But people that are saying you can't blame Lampard at all because it was yet another individual error. First of all, it's too many individual errors, and most of them since Lampard has joined. Because, I mean, under Sarri, we had the 3rd best defence in the league. None of these players were making anywhere near as many errors then as they are now. Somehow. I don't know why, but somehow. But also, it is on Lampard anyways because we shouldn't have even let so much pressure on our defence in the first place in the second half for that mistake to even happen. Tomori and Zuma were unbelievable. So many last-ditch tackles that they had to make in the second half, but they shouldn't have had to make so many recovery tackles in the second half. They shouldn't have had to. We should have changed the system much sooner. Or not even just the system. We should have changed a few players much sooner. We needed more pace up front. We needed more fresh legs up front. So bring Kai and Tammy on. Solve the problem. That would have solved the problem. What? Emerson was our best defender yesterday, just no blood. I mean, he was only on for like 25 minutes and made the mistake that cost us the goal. So I'm not going to agree he was our best defender. I don't know whether you're taking a piss, but K1, 2K17, Emerson did mess up for the Spurs goal. He was the guy in front of Lamela before he equalised, so you need to watch that back maybe if you didn't notice this. Someone up here said, what do you want Giroud to do when 90% of our passes are backwards or sideways? No, you're right. I'm not saying Giroud should have done more when he didn't get the ball. What can he do? Well, he can do one thing, be faster and make other runs. That's not blaming Giroud. That's blaming Lampard for playing Giroud. Because if you have someone that makes fast runs deep, then maybe there would have been less sideways and backwards passing because we would have had that outlet to play it over the top, which we didn't have enough. So, you know, that is the problem with Giroud. And also, when he did get the ball, he messed up his touch 9 times out of 10 yesterday. It was honestly really poor. Whether it was with his head or with his feet, it was honestly really, really poor. That's why Lampard don't like to start Emerson. I mean, Alonso makes more mistakes than Everton. I'm not having that. Emerson shouldn't be at fault. Aspie jumped, missed. Zuma jumped, missed, and the ball still came to Emerson. Yes, maybe so, but Zuma was at the very front post and Aspie was at the front post as well. You can't really blame those. Emerson had the easiest clearance of the lot of them and messed it up. Divi Gosalia, sorry if I butchered your name, pardon me, said Jorginho was good, Mount was very hard-working, Lampard tactics were wrong. Mount is always hard-working, but that doesn't excuse yesterday that he wasn't good. Because it's simple fact that there was too huge of a gap between our midfield and the attack too often, and the number 10's role is exactly to fill that gap, and he didn't do that. Jorginho, I thought, was very good. I don't know what people are moaning about. He was very good. No, it wasn't Aspie's fault. No. You're making it a bit too simple there, K1. What are your thoughts on Barkley going to loan to Villa? Yeah, we'll mention that as well in just a second. Give me a little bit longer to talk about that game. People would blame Lampard for starting Hudson-Odoi and missing the 1-on-1 to kill the game. No, I wouldn't do that. You know, I wouldn't blame Lampard for starting Hudson-Odoi and missing that sitter. It's still a cup game. You need to rotate. You need to play these players. The one thing that I would say, though, maybe people shouldn't have blamed Sarri so much for not starting Hudson-Odoi. And maybe he was right saying, oh, at 17, 18, maybe he isn't quite ready yet for the big stage. Maybe that's the problem. He played well in the Europa League at the time. Whenever he played in the Premier, he usually didn't do that much. You know, did you hear what Mourinho said about Lampard? Is Lampard too inexperienced or unlucky? Thanks. I didn't hear the exact things that Mourinho said. I just heard that he felt bad for him being quiet and maybe that he is a bit too quiet and needs to help his team a bit more when things are going badly. But, you know, let's not talk too much about like what Mourinho says. Mourinho plays mind games. Let's ignore what he says. Let's get to 50 likes at least. What Mohale said. There's 56 people watching and we're only at 16 likes. What Mohale said. Make sure every single one of you drop a like right now. Come on, guys. I'm going to give you a second. Go down below. There's 57 of you watching. Go down below and smash the like button. It helps me out a lot. Not us. Me in this case. My channel. Pushes these videos out to more people. And it just makes me happy. It cheers me up. So please do that. That'd be brilliant. K1 score prediction for the Crystal Palace game. I will say that in my preview ahead of the game on Friday on Blues Fans TV. Of course, that goal shows why we need to start Zuma and Thiago because they can talk to each other. But Tomori and Zuma, they don't talk to each other. I mean, you don't know whether they spoke to each other in that case. And I still think, you know, Emerson was still to blame to some extent. By the time Frank will learn and players will gel, league will be out of reach or any trophies for that matter. Time is running out. No. Okay, electronic ear, you need to understand one thing. We were never in a running for the league title. I don't know why people thought this. Just because we spent 250 million doesn't mean we're favourites for the title now. Liverpool and Man City have spent 200 million or 100, between 50 and 150 or 200 million for years in a row. We did it for one summer. And you think we all of a sudden should be challenging them. Just because Sky, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher and, you know, bloody whoever else on Twitter tells you and opponent fans tells you we need to challenge, we don't. We need 2 more years, next year maybe we can challenge, but at least one more big transfer window. Otherwise it doesn't work. It's as simple as that. It really, really is. But also, Divi said, guys, stop blaming Lampard. Give him time. Liverpool fans are very patient. They gave Klopp 4 years and you see the result. Back Lampard, give him some time. There is no manager who will give you instant success. True, but let's also not ignore that our team is much better than Liverpool's team was when Klopp took over. And also Klopp took over mid-season and we're now in Lampard's second season. Klopp's second full season was all right. You know, that already got better. They got better. You know, let's not like... I mean, in his third season, he got to the Champions League final, in which they lost. Do we look like going to Champions League finals next year? I disagree. You know what I mean? Like, Lampard is inexperienced and Lampard is making mistakes. But there is a difference in criticising Lampard, and rightly so, criticising Lampard for certain things. There's a big difference in that and saying Lampard needs to go. Because that's silly. Who are we going to get in? Pochettino is not going to join us. Why would he do that? Nagelsmann is, you know, locked up at Leipzig. Tuchel is locked up at PSG. And then what? Like, these people are not just lying around. We're not just going to sign Klopp from Liverpool. Like, you need to talk about that. Amai said, can you please give your opinion on Hudson-Odoi wanted to go to Bayern according to reports? No, that's not true. Hudson-Odoi is staying and he's all right. Do you think Jorginho is in Lampard's future plans? Long-term future plans, no. This season, yes, I think he's going to stay, regardless of whether we sign Declan Rice or not. In your opinion, what do you think was the best player yesterday? Our best player? Chilwell, while he was on the pitch. Zuma. Tomori. Aspie. The defence was in general quite good, you know. Mondi was very good. Jorginho was good. Not incredible. I thought the back five was better than him. Hudson-Odoi was decent other than messing up the chance. Do you know what I mean? So that's that. That's not how the Russian boss thinks, bro. You might be right on that. You might be right. But if he thinks... But if Roman thought appointing Frank Lampard after just 1 season of being a manager, he will give us instant success, then he was wrong and then he made a mistake. We always needed to realise and understand that signing Frank Lampard after just 1 year of being a manager and that in the Championship for Derby County was not going to be like an instant success. I know it worked for Pep Guardiola at Barcelona, but that is different. He was Barcelona's B manager. and he was, you know, let's say Guardiola is special as a manager. Frank Lampard will probably be a very good manager in my opinion, but he won't be as special as Guardiola. Let's be honest. Let's not kid ourselves. That is different. That is different. So if Roman thought that way, that's kind of his mistake in my opinion. I would say Timo Werner was our best player. No. Timo was awful. Timo, other than his goal, was poor. He tried hard and made great runs, but whenever, like, some of his passes were lazy, some of his passes were poor, and he needed to do a bit more. Exactly what Isaac said. I love you guys, honestly. You guys supporting this. I love that. I love that. My girlfriend's working, so she can't be asking for likes. I love you guys. Genuinely do. JT Phillips says, sell Jorginho, buy Rice, we need captain material. Now, the thing is, Jorginho is the closest thing behind Usby that is captain material at the club. And wanting Jorginho out, especially after the game yesterday when he was actually one of the better players, is silly in my opinion. If Chelsea do need funds to make way for Rice, maybe we need to sell Jorginho. But the problem is, no one's going to buy Jorginho from us now. Not for the money we want. And we're not going to loan him out. So Jorginho stays this season. Probably will sign Rice anyway. Let's see. We'll try to get money for Marcos Alonso. We'll try to get money for Antonio Rudiger, even though there is a good chance those will go out on loan as well. And one of them is Ross Barkley, who this morning joined Aston Villa on the loan deal, which was extremely surprising for me personally, because he was on a bench last night. Rudiger and Ruben, they weren't on the bench. They weren't in the squad, but they still haven't found a new club. Ross Barkley, immediately new club. And good luck to him. I hope he manages to stay, keep Villa up alongside John Terry. Good luck to him. I don't rate Ross Barkley that highly. Physically and technically, he's a good player, but the footballing brain he doesn't quite have. But it's still surprising because the reports by Matt Law, by the Telegraph, are still saying that Ruben Loftus-Cheek will still go out on loan, or might still be allowed to go out on loan. There's just clubs are a bit hesitant because of his high wages and also his injury history that maybe not even that many clubs want him. So let's see, maybe Ruben will be forced to stay at Chelsea because no clubs that would be of the level that we need the loan clubs to be, will actually want him. So that is a little bit of a problem. That Ross Barkley news annoyed me. Now, one thing that Ross Barkley news told us, in my opinion, is it was very clear that Lampard doesn't want to play a 4-3-3 with two attacking eights consistently. This is maybe now and again, but it's not going to be a base formation. And that's interesting, and we know that now, especially if Ruben also goes out on loan, because then we just don't have enough players in those positions. It's just as simple as that. If we play a 4-2-3-1, we have enough players. We have Kai in the 10, Mount in the 10, maybe Ruben stays, so then him as well. Ziyech can play in the 10, Pulisic can play in the 10, and we can change formation where we don't necessarily have a 10. So, we have enough number 10s. And then we currently have three proper players that can play in the double pivot in the 4-2-3-1, and there is a chance Declan Rice comes in as well. And we have Billy Gilmour out injured, although I believe once Billy comes back, he will probably go out on loan in January. Depending on how fit he is once he comes back, maybe we'll just spend most of the rest of the season with the development squad. We need a good backup winger. Pulisic and Ziyech are very injury prone and nobody trusts Hudson-Odoi. He's awful. I mean, I think you're a bit harsh on Hudson-Odoi. First of all, the guy's still young. People forget that he's young. He's significantly younger than Christian Pulisic is. He's 2 years younger than Pulisic. Do you know what I mean? Like that, it's a big difference. Like it's a big difference being 19, 20 to like 21, 22, 23. It's a big difference. But I said this all along. I all along said that we needed a winger. We have now found out that Kai Havertz, Timo Werner on the wing doesn't work as well. Maybe we should have signed someone like Benrahma. Maybe we should have given Willian the 3-year contract. Who knows? Maybe we should play Emerson Palmieri on the wing. Maybe we should keep Victor Moses and play him on the wing because he's still officially here. But there's positives and negatives. Someone just in the comments for me, 4-3-3 flows nicely, and it does. The problem that we had on Asari in last season as well, we played the proper 4-3-3. We don't get enough people in and around the box to take our chances, again, especially against teams that sit deep, which is our problem. Hence why a proper number 10 is important. Or two attacking eights, but two attacking eights leaves us too exposed, except against very defensive teams maybe, and then you need a proper DM, not even Kante, someone like Rice probably, to hold that stability, especially if the two fullbacks are very attacking. The problem is we need to find a system and work on it and make it good. That's what Sarri did. And you lot, probably a lot of the same people that said, oh, Sarri never changes it up, are now saying Lampard needs to find a system. That's what Sarri did. And his team wasn't quite ready to work on other systems. Sarri said this all along. He wants to get his plan A right, and once plan A, probably the players know it, Then he works on plan B, because even if you're good at plan A, sometimes an opponent finds a way to stop that. So then you need a plan B. But as long as plan A doesn't properly work, what's the point in having a plan B that also doesn't properly work? Do you know what I mean? No, Victor Mo's getting a bit. That was a joke. Electronic Ear said, do you rate Mount as a regular first team starter or a very good squad player to have when all players are fit in a full strength Chelsea team? Now that depends on the system. If you play a 4-3-3 and he's an attacking 8, he can play there. I think he's starting material for that. But in a 4-2-3-1, he doesn't play ahead of Havertz. He obviously doesn't start on the wing ahead of any of the wingers. So no. Kovacic is good at dribbling, but the final forward passes annoys me. I completely agree. I would buy Rice and play a 4-3-1 with Rice, Kante, Kovacic in the DM. Now, if we play Rice and Kante against anyone but very good teams, I'd be fuming. That's really defensive. How old is Ansu Fati? Stop using age to defend Odoi. What? Ansu Fati scored 2 goals against Villarreal now. Scored 1 goal against Inter last season and scored a couple here and there. Playing with Lionel Messi. With Messi and Suarez half the time last season. It's a bit different. And also against teams with an extremely high line. Not saying that Hudson-Odoi is amazing, but Fati is just more talented than Hudson-Odoi. That doesn't mean Hudson-Odoi is bad, I feel that the team lacks the desire and ruthlessness to win. That is one thing I agree with to some extent. Not the desire, but the ruthlessness. But that's a problem with age. Yeah, what Red Pill said. In order to see the best, Werner through passes must be created a lot. I completely agree. Hence why we need a system and players to start knowing each other. That's one thing I will give Lampard lenience for. These players need to start gelling. Werner needs to get to know his teammates when to make runs. His teammates need to get to know him when he makes runs to find him. And that goes for everyone. But that also goes for players like Kovacic improving at the ball, at those over-the-top balls. Jorginho tried them, interestingly, very rarely to Werner, which was odd. But yeah, Joe wanted by Bayern to replace Robin. They offered the number 10. That was years ago, but yes, and it wouldn't have worked out for them, let's be honest. We should have kept Ampadu this season. I agree. I completely agree. I like Rice, but I don't see the point in paying that much for Declan Rice if we had Ampadu, personally. But, the club will do what they do, and we hope it works. There's no point criticising it. Hudson-Odoi needs to work on his finishing, but you can't blame Hudson-Odoi for last night. I agree. Completely agree. What else are you guys saying? Agree with you, Ernest. What did Ernest say? Let me find that. Not seeing any Ernest. Nate said, Lampard needs to learn fast and make the right call in selection and system. Time's running out. We are not Liverpool to wait 4 seasons to win the Premier League. Our team needs to be more direct. More direct, I agree with. But it's not quite that simple. You can't just say, we need to win sooner than 4 years. Because there's 2 teams that are very good. Until City and Liverpool just aren't that good anymore, well, then it's going to be tough. We need to catch up to them, and that just doesn't happen overnight, no matter who the manager is. People judge too quickly here. We need to wait until Pulisic and Ziyech are back. We need to, John Bans, but you need to think about the fact they won't be able to play every game. And are you saying if Pulisic and Ziyech aren't fit, we can't win? We played a Spurs B team yesterday. We played the second string side and couldn't beat them. So, let's not kid ourselves. We should have, already read that. We lack physicality in midfield. Lambs needs to think outside the box sometimes. Play Christensen or James in midfield. Well, that's why we're trying to sign Declan Rice. So, that's that problem kind of solved. What did you think of Mondi's passing? It was a lot better than Kepa's. I disagree that it was better than Kepa's, but it was better than I thought it was. The problem with Mondi is he takes a little while to pick out his pass, but his long passing was actually, we knew was going to be good. We knew that because that was Ren's play style. I said this in a video on here, I'm pretty sure, when he signed as well. Just the short passing, he sometimes struggles under the pressure. But his long pass accuracy is actually very good, and I'm very happy with him. Jorginho's long passing is suspect. The passes got to the man, but not ahead of him and not at their feet. Did you see the balls to Hudson-Odoi yesterday, mates? Maybe look a bit better. We need to play on the strength of Timo Werner. We must stop the issue of bringing in Giroud to act as a target man. We need to get a good system for Werner as a striker. I completely agree, Baguma. But do you think Werner will play as a striker or as a winger when everybody is fit in the future? As a striker, without doubt. Joe is good. He's playing out of position. Well, that is one thing. Hudson-Odoi is good on the left, bad on the right, because he doesn't have a weak foot. That is not on Lampard, that is on Hudson-Odoi improving left foot. He has to. And with yesterday, Werner had to play on the wing because we don't have the wingers fit. And if Werner has to play, he has to play on the left. He's better on the left than he is on the right. Although I say that Werner didn't do that much other than the goal, and that's when he drifted central. He can drift central from the right as well, so maybe it would have been better. We need to buy a new medical team. Buy it, fair enough. Don't forget that our 4 backs still need to unite. Yeah, but the problem yesterday wasn't the defence. The defence were decent yesterday. Even if Emerson's mistake was an individual error, the problem was the midfield that let way too much pressure on. That was the problem yesterday. Let's not forget Kepa's long passes to the fullbacks. They would always go to play. That's wrong. That's just wrong, mate. That's just wrong. How high is your trust in Frank Lampard? If we have a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to say 7. How high was the trust before the 5 games so far this season? Maybe an 8. So it has been lowered a little bit because I am expecting a bit more. Because whether we have new players or not, I think we've been worse than last season. And that is, regardless of new players, we shouldn't be worse. I understand that we won't be better immediately. And that will take weeks, if not months. But we shouldn't be worse. And that I don't like. Chelsea wins the league if Pulisic and Ziyech stay fit all through. No chance. No chance. I'm saying in general. He does have good passes like the one against Watford. Well, no, but you're wrong in general, because in general, his long passes are good. Well, in my opinion. People forget that Kepa is worth more than Mondi. And Kepa wasn't actually worth that. That was just Kepa's buyout clause. You know, Kepa's buyout clause literally a month earlier was 15 million euros. But because it came over the 1st of July, it went up to 80 million euros. So, you know, Kepa was a good goalkeeper and with high potential, but he wasn't like the next superstar. Just the price tag made him seem that way. Real Madrid considered buying him in January to replace Keylor Navas and... Who else did they have? No, to replace Keylor Navas. In the January before we signed him. They changed their mind, even though he was only 15 million euros. They ended up getting Courtois from us, so we signed Kepa for 80 million euros. So that's not actually fully true. Just because a release clause is that, doesn't mean that. I mean, whose release clause is? Benzema's release clause, I think, is 700 million. Is Benzema worth 700 million just because of that? No. Don't mention Kepa in this chat. Was waiting for Pulisic, hope it will come next game. I doubt it next game. He might be on the bench against Palace and come on. Does any of you know whether he's in the squad against for the United States? I don't know. I would love to know about that, to be honest. We were 12 points above Man United by January, and they finished above us. Spurs would have finished above Chelsea if not the injury to their first team players. Lampard needs to go. I mean, we had our own injuries, so I don't know what you're waffling about. Does Jorginho have a place in the midfield anymore? In the starting midfield, until Kante learns to sit, yes. Once Kante learns to sit, Jorginho is a squad player, but he's an important squad player to have around, in my opinion. I'm going to go one more question, then I'm going to leave it there. Lampard should come with a plan B, just like Conte did, and we started playing 3-5-2 and we won the league. Lampard should come up with something out of the box. No, Divi, you're completely wrong, sorry. What he needs is to find a plan A. We don't have a plan A yet. Go with a plan A, like I said in the beginning. We had 56 different starting 11s in Lampard's 60 games. Like, think about it. 56 different starting 11s in 60 games. Only 4 times did we have the same starting 11 as other times. Only 4. Ridiculous. That is crazy. We need a plan. We need a plan A, not a plan B. So stop thinking about plan B at least until Christmas, probably next season. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What Baguma said, I've never seen Kepa pumping balls in the channels quickly like Man City goalkeeper does. That's true. He can't hit the ball that long. 2, we don't make those runs. But guys, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. It's a bit annoying. I'm going for 33, 34 minutes now, and now the people are starting to come in. 77 people watching. But I really do appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would genuinely be massively, massively appreciated. Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Make sure you hit the notification bell button so you don't miss any of my future live streams and videos. And guys, make sure you drop a like. Everyone, please drop a like. There's 80 watching right now. Everyone, go down below, smash that like button as hard as you bloody can. It doesn't cost you any money, barely costs you any time. It helps me out a lot, cheers me up. Helps push these videos out to more people, helps me grow, so I appreciate that a lot. But guys, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea. Upwards and onwards, because, you know, we need to get better and we need to beat Crystal Palace on Saturday. There's no 2 questions about it. But yeah, up to Chelsea. and I'll see you next time.